think are the most important factors when approaching marketing strategies to target the LGBT community? Given that people in our audience today may be at different parts of their journey, some just starting out, some very well advanced, what's your key piece of advice to a brand looking to engage long-term with this community?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think, the Culturist group really, and the work that I focus on is on multiculturalism and being in the United States. We know that the changing nature of demographics there and who's actually coming up with economic buying power and who's not being represented. We've heard today a lot about intersectionality, and it exists so much. I think in order to have a really effective program of work, it's really looking at your brand strategy. It's really looking at research, and I think that's one of the areas that I've chosen to focus on in my career lately is the research that actually is not available when we're reflecting the intersectionality of LGBTQ communities. For example, there's 2.3 million Latinx LGBTQ adults in the US, 1.3 million Black LGBTQ, and that's the UCLA Law School provided those figures. There isn't enough research to be able to indicate exactly the travel preferences, right, and the opportunities we have to connect through culture. And I think it's really important because when we have intersectional identities and we know that the market is shifting and growing into a more multicultural society, and I see it here too in Milan, by the way. I was walking throughout the Duomo area and saw so many Hispanic faces and people who live here now. So I think immigration, I think the growth of multiculturalism is a strong driver of growth for travel and tourism. Going back to the brand strategy piece, the research is important to drive and to be able to connect what your brand stands for and how you create the cohesion with the audiences you're hoping to connect with. It's not a one-size-all-fits approach. It's not performative. It's not just during Pride Month or Hispanic Heritage Month. It really has to go deeper than that in terms of utilizing cultural relevance, utilizing language, utilizing even generational preferences that exist between like a Gen Z or millennial. So really what we do is work with brands to define the points of connectivity between culture and, in this case, LGBTQ segments. So one of the things that we try to do is connect people, culture, and message. And especially with destinations, people means your communities, right? And Philly, the video you showed earlier was fascinating regarding the personalities of cultural movements that are reflective of the destination. For destinations, it's really important to dig deep into the marginalized communities that haven't been represented before in destination marketing efforts, for example. For travel providers, right, looking into your tour guides, the people who run the operations, to be able to connect the values that you have, to your point, Amy and Hilton, with the things that are going to be relevant to your audience. And finding those points of connectivity as well, because I think it's really important. The cultural piece is the cultural cues, the movements, the messages that are resonant with your audience, right? To be able to define the message. And the message needs to be omni-channel, year-round, full funnel, right? Not just PR, not just we love influencers, and not just the influencer. It needs to be the brand level all the time.